sticking that stinger in me. Here we go. Rips it up, gate down, race on, and Moto number 3 underway for the 450B Limited. Tuck it in through that first turn and past the Bell Moto hole shot stripe. It's going to be Adam Cranford getting credit for the early lead. Jace Kessler in second, Hunter Yoder third, Pierce Knight fourth, Riston Grigg in the number 5 spot. Dennis Doc Smith, Eddie Nord, Luke Phineas, Liam Langer, and Ben Ayabanskis rounding out the top 10, and we'll see these riders getting it sorted out, and already sorting things out there as Yoder slices and dices his way nearly to the front. Looked like he had that lead, but Kessler able to hang on to it as they make their way out of that 10 Commandment section for the first time, and now heading back through Storyland and already starting to amass a little bit of a gap over the rest of the field back there. So we got, looked like possibly a Suzuki pilot in that third. Did I see a yellow bike? Let's see, as third place rolls around. No, it's 2 Kawasaki's going at it right now. I believe that could be Riston Grigg and Doc Smith back there.
Kessler doesn't want to give this up, man. He was feet off the pegs, but keeping that right wrist pinned, holding off Hunter Yoder as we get into the sand turn for the first time in this final 450B Limited Moto. Yoder, little guy, and making it work though in the B class. Here he is on the outside. Chase Kessler not letting it happen.
This is the battle for the championship again, the 58 and the 51. Yoder with a 2-1. Chase Kessler with a 1-3 coming into this one. So basically, if these guys finish up front, it's a matter of who beats the others, who's going to get this national championship title.
You can see it even without the math. Kessler is working so hard to keep Yoder behind him. He just took a look over his shoulder with Yoder next to him. Now we go over this tunnel jump. Yoder going to cross it up. He goes from inside to outside, now switches back to the inside, which will now set him up on the outside for this billboard turn. And he's just doing the right things, keeping the heat on Kessler, and Kessler is riding awfully hard to try to hold him off.
At this point, even the 450B Limited class, I mean, you may feel a little bit faster, but at this juncture, like you pointed out, putting pressure on, just lay back there and wait and try to put pressure on to force that rider into a mistake. So not only do you have one position, but maybe even a couple positions that separate you if he forces himself into that big a mistake.
And we've seen it happen time and time again. So maybe Yoder's a little quicker. At least I think the first 2 laps he was, but Kessler's starting to uncork it now and starting to feel it. But the longer you can keep that rider behind you, every time you're just hoping that maybe he tips over, maybe he makes a mistake, maybe he hands it back to you. So if you're Kessler, you're just going to fight for it. Even with Yoder all over, every lap he can click off and keep Yoder behind him, his championship odds go up, and I think it's already happened. The first 2 laps, Yoder was all over his rear wheel. Now on lap 3, Kessler's starting to open it up. We got a 5, maybe an 8 bike length lead, so his persistence on those first 2 laps paying off. Yoder is now going to have to restart, reset himself, regroup, and put in another charge, because those first 2 laps he got close, but he couldn't execute the pass. And now Kessler's starting to open it back up. Jackson Gray in 3rd, Adam Cranford 4th, Eddie Norred Jr. is 5th, Pierce Knight 6th, Riston Grigg 7th, Luke Phineas 8th, Spencer Winter and Stephen Hooker top 10. Big swap from Yoder. Got to put this thing back together. Look at how quickly they pulled away from everybody else, and that is a byproduct of the championship pressure. Jackson Gray riding well in 3rd, but there's oh, wow, we almost saw that 27 Kawasaki of Adam Cranford throw it away. And we do have a crash down here in this final turn. 2 riders down. I think they're okay. Oh, Spencer Winter on the 25. He was in the top 10, but that's going to cost him a few spots. I think they're all right. Looks like Yoder's trying to remount an attack here and from 2nd on Kessler, who's leading the way in the 51. Into the long short chute. Oh, Yoder back in the picture now. Into the 10 Commandments. Your leaders, championship on the line. Yoder, that inside line at the end of the 10 Commandments works out. He makes up 2-3 bike lengths, I feel, in that section every time. But here's maybe the trickiest part of the track, and it's not jumps, it's not whoops, it's not rollers, it's just 2 rutted turns. And it is so hard to get through those clean. We've seen it happen lap after lap, day after day, that race decided in 2 rutted corners. Kessler's been clean through there, and that has bailed him out several times. Yoder's looking good, but not quite able to close up enough to show him a wheel. Yes, our buddy Brian Spencer up in the tower. He is a blind motocross fan. He's been asking people all week, could you describe to me in words, rollers? No one can do it. So now we're down to next time you're at a gas station, we always describe with our hands. That doesn't do it. So I told Brian, if you want to know what rollers are without being able to see them, go to the local gas station that has the hot dogs on rollers. Just put your hand on that just to feel what it's like. Put it on those red hot grill rollers. That's what they look like. Good luck, Brian. Here comes Jackson Gray and Pierce Knight coming through in third and fourth.
You gotta give it up to Jackson Gray. He started out a 42 in Moto #1, so basically probably a DNF or something like that. And then back that up with an 8th place finish in Moto #2. So he's rolling with a 3rd place position here in Moto #3. So you know he's got to feel a lot better about the way things are starting to pan out after that first moto. Not going to be a factor, but certainly showing that he could have been a solid top 10 rider had things worked out a little better in his favor in the early part of this one.
Good battle here. Pierce Knight on the 40, slicing and dicing his way forward. He got around Adam Cranford on the number 27 Kawasaki. So Pierce Knight has pierced through this battle. And just like we had a couple of motos ago in the 25+ class, we're talking 4 or 5 riders duking it out in the same section. Look at the 27. Cranford's trying to come right back. And I like this inside line that he's got in the 10 Commandments. It's Knight versus Cranford. This is for 4th. Let's see who gets it. Cranford got past. He's trying to get him back. Oh, side by side through Storyland. Cranford has it back for the moment. He has repassed Knight. Knight's down to the inside. Here's those 2 rutted corners we talked about. That was an amazing battle. What, 5 corners set up that whole thing.
Amazing how that one line there at the end, the very far reaches of this track there in Storyland, there's where the stories are told, like we say. You know, we call it Storyland again because of the family that established that pretty much dominance as far as flagging back there for so many years, a local family. But this also parallels with the fact that this part of the racetrack, so many things happen back there.
Oh, and here's something happening. Yoder has caught back up to Kessler. It's his best shot yet to take the lead. Squeezes him off on the triple after the finish. Yoder's got it. Yoder, good camera work there on RacerTV to catch that battle brewing. So Yoder, for the first time, has taken the lead. That will swing the championship his direction. Wait a minute. Oh, we saw him behind those billboards. I thought for a second they tangled up. We've seen many a championship decided back there. I go way back to a classic 85cc duel. I remember Adam Cianciarulo had a 6th in the first moto. We thought he was out of it. And then in the final moto, it was Jesse Masterpool, and I think it might have been Matt Bisceglia. They tangled in that billboard corner. They never got their bikes unhooked. They lay there. The bikes were stuck for a whole lap, handlebars stuck in the frame, and Cianciarulo ended up winning the title despite a 6th in the first moto. And it's amazing. Again, that's a simple 180-degree corner, but when you put these ruts, the pressure, things happen. All right, it's all on the line for Kessler now. He has got to find a way to hang with Yoder, but it is not going to be easy.
Wow, man, Yoder just kind of laid back there. You know, it looked like, honestly, that maybe Kessler may be a little bit faster, but I think Yoder was just kind of biding his time, seeing what the lines were looking like and seeing where Kessler was going so he could thread the needle that needed to be threaded to take that lead and secure himself the 450B championship. Again, though, only 9 minutes into this race, that doesn't secure anything just yet. We still got a long road to hoe before the checkers come out. And this one becomes official for Yoder. But Yoder out front, Chase Kessler in second. Jackson Gray still in third. Again, 42.8 and now up to third. Pierce Knight holding solid in fourth place. Luke Finnis now up to the number 5 position as we see Adam Cranford in 6th. Eddie Norad Jr. in 7th. Stephen Hooker, the double nickels there aboard the 55 in 8th. Spencer Winter in 9th aboard the 25. And Blake Hazen rounds out your top 10. Another note here about the 25 of Spencer Winter. He had a 15 in Moto 1. Backed that up with a 5 in Moto 2. So he may have some room for expansion and maybe chipping away a few more positions here in this third moto, and might see things start to sway a little different throughout our top 10.
I love it, Rodney. Kessler has not given up. He's stuck right with Yoder. So the 51, the BTO Sports rider out of Michigan, is right there behind Yoder. He's gonna make him sweat for it. We're into the long short shoot under the Red Bull peristyle arch. And Yoder, watch the lead. It's still not that big. Kessler's there, you're gonna see it in the 10 Commandments. So he's gone to school, he's learned some of the lines. Now we're into the second half of this race, 10 minutes down, 10 minutes to go. It's gonna be all heart and grit at this point. Man, who wants it the most? You love when it's all left out on the table. They both got the starts. No lap traffic to worry about. It is just mono, e-mono, Yoder and Kessler. Yoder's won some titles here before as a mini cyclist. He's still a little guy, but he can throw that bike around. I would imagine, I think he's riding a 250 here in the 450B limited class, because that's what his team, Amsoil Honda, specializes in. Yep, so he's making his 250 work. And I believe earlier in the week, on one of his podium interviews, he said he tries to wait, as he did, to later in the Moto, because he figures the riders on 450s are probably going to tire themselves out. So he did. He gave Kessler 4 or 5 laps. Then he put in a charge. He took the lead. But what about Kessler? Staying right with him. Not going to let it happen easy.
Now, that's the one thing we can count on. It's not going to be an easy win for Yoder. As we are seeing proven right now, only about a second or so separating those two last time around, as they were in a heated battle at that particular time. Now it has kind of subsided, and we're still just barely over a second between first and second, but both riders seem to be into a pace and a flow right now.
Kessler's got something dialed in between the finish line and the billboards. He's always able to cut that lead back down. Now they get hard on the gas coming out. Oh, rider down, that's okay. He's up and all right, and neither of the riders had to slow. So this front half of the track, the first half of the lap, works for Kessler as we go back and check out some of these other battles here. And then Yoder tries to get away in the second half of the lap.
22 seconds back is the third place position, the 77 of Jackson Gray. About 3 seconds behind him, and fourth is the number 40 of Pierce Knight. Luke Phineas another 7 seconds back in fifth aboard the 99. Cranford 4 seconds back in sixth. Spencer Winter 2.3 seconds back in the 7th place position, but turning about a second faster a lap. 2:02.7, nearly identical lap times there for Hooker behind Winter with a 1.2 second gap there. Eddie Norred, that one right there might be a battle. Actually, Hooker just got around him, it looks like, and Blake Hazen could be closing up the gap. So we could be seeing a battle back there with Norred and Blake Hazen. Also don't want to count out Sean Calder, and I think he might be coming up hard and fast. Matthew Sigler, both with 2:01s outside the top 10, better than the 2:03 and the 2:05 and the 2:01s in the 8, 9, and 10 spots. So this could get good.
Kessler had feet off the pegs. He was right there with Yoder again. He saved it, but that's going to take a lot of energy and probably raise that heart rate and cost him probably 3-4 seconds right there. That was the break Yoder needed. So now we're into the nitty-gritty. Kessler is going to have to put in the ride of his life in these final 6 minutes to try to make that ground back up on Yoder. It's a good battle we were watching back there before that with Spencer Winter, who crashed earlier, has picked himself back up on that Marvin Muscan replica number 25 KTM running the Thor gear. He's gotten around Hooker. He's up to 7th despite the early crash. So that was the battle you were watching earlier, but we're back to Kessler trying to get Yoder back in his sights. Another battle here, the 32. And the 40 is Knight. Knight's ridden very well here.
I think that might be a lapped rider right now. I think maybe looking down through the roster of riders here, the 32 is
He's
DJ
running
Weber.
The pace of the 4th place rider pretty well for going a lap down, but I think you're right, Rodney.
It's Team Green rider DJ Weber, whom, yes, does have the ability to run the pace, but he comes into this one with a 21 and 33, so I don't know what's going on, but here late in the Moto, he's at least trying to match some paces, it looks like, of these leaders as they come through.
So it's 450B limited, and right now you're watching that battle that we mentioned, the 25. Spencer Winter has climbed back through. Got the 45 Honda of Blake Hazen right with him. And then Stephen Hooker on the number 55 KTM. The Yamaha is Matt Singler on the number 12. 4-rider battle, which takes you to the very back of the top 10. It's 7, 8, 9, 10 under the Red Bull peristyle. Long short shoot and headed into the 10 Commandments. There's the 25. good recovery from Winter, but he's going to have to deal with Blake Hazen, who's right on him in the 10 Commandments. And then up ahead would be Adam Cranford in 6th, Luke Phineas, a good solid top 5, running in 5th. And he's got to be happy because Phineas, 10 seconds back, is this raging pack. He wants nothing to do with that. So these guys are going to battle with each other. Phineas going to try to take it home for a top 5. Pierce Knight 4th. Jackson Gray has been all alone for most of this race. Knight's trying to catch him for 3rd. Oh, and down is that Winter again. Yes, 2 crashes in this moto for Spencer Winter, and that was costly.
Heartbreaker indeed for Spencer Winters. He was trying to better himself here in these second motos. Again, he had a 15, a 5, and was clawing his way up through the pack there at one point, but a 7th place position at last check-in. We're going to see a few positions drop for that rider, so he may find himself dropping outside of a top 10 overall today.
It's going to be 2 laps to go here. Hunter Yoder trying to put the finishing touches on it. Our next race will be 85, 10 to 12, then Schoolboy 1.
So closing moments of this one, I believe we'll see a white flag possibly coming out this time. No, this should be, this could be the white flag. I know they had the 2-lap board pop up just before those leaders came through a few moments ago. So depending on where we were on the clock, we could have 2 or 1 lap of racing to go when our leaders check in here in just a moment. By the way, the fastest lap of this moto so far has been turned by Luke Finnis at 154.749. However, I think that was on lap number 1, so technically that's not going to count. So we're going to say right now that 157.055 is one of the faster laps we've seen. I seen Yoder down in the 155 range a couple of laps ago also. So we've seen some pretty fast lap times consistently, I think, in this 450B class as the 58 machine finds his way around this race course. And
one to go.
Yep, there's the white flag. 1 more to go for Hunter Yoder.
Hey, good call on that lap time by Phineas, because you know that Yoder and Kessler were throwing everything they had at it with the title in the balance, and he actually ends up with the fastest lap of this entire race. So shout out to him. It might only end up with a 6th place finish because Cranford has slipped by him, but that's some serious pace. As for Yoder, shout out my son, who loves watching motorcycle videos on YouTube. When he was 2 years old, this is 2 years ago, was all into this guy Blippy, who does kid tours of how to drive a bulldozer and how to drive a cement truck and how an airplane works. And I said, man, they need to do a motorcycle one. So I called my buddy Chris Johnham at Honda and I said, get your PR team on this. You've probably never heard of this guy, but if you're a toddler, he's your superhero. We need a motorcycle one. So Honda put it together. They did a little riding video on how to ride a motorcycle, and they brought out their, at the time, factory mini cycle racer was Hunter Yoder. So Hunter Yoder taught Blippy how to ride. 9.5 million views on this video. So, hey, the whole idea is to get young kids interested in dirt bikes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so good to see Hunter Yoder. He was the point man to show how a motorcycle is ridden. Now he's moved up to the big machine, and he might just deliver the 450B limited title. I did tell people to go check that BLIPPI video out, and everybody that watches it says after about 1.5 minutes, that's all they can take. Hey, it's designed for 2-year-olds, all right? It's a video for 2-year-olds. It's a little different than what we're looking for, but for young kids, it's awesome. Hunter Yoder's a star to them, and he's going to be a star today.
Oh, for sure. He is a star, no doubt about it, as Yoder is on the victory lap here of this 450B limited class. Here he comes around the final turns now, in front of the Polysport Pond, and Hunter Yoder on that Amsoil Honda is on his way home to a national championship as well as Moto Gold here. He goes 2-1-1 in this highly competitive 450B class, and Hunter Yoder is your 450B limited national champion and Moto 3 winners. You hear the celebration revs going past the announcer's tower, and of course down to the Race Tech podium where Jason Wygant will be joining he and the top 3 in this class for overall celebrations. And again, Yoder, Kessler, Jackson Gray, 1, 2, and 3 as we look at our Rocky Mountain ATVMC top 10 leaderboard. Pierce Knight, the number 40, we should be seeing him check in. Oh, for Pierce Knight, get this, Jason Wygant. Pierce Knight takes third away from Jackson Gray. Pierce Knight takes the bronze as he posts a 1:59 on that last lap and just barely squeaks by the 77 of Jackson Gray. So Knight in third, Jackson Gray in fourth. Adam Cramper checking in fifth now. Luke Finnis is sixth. Seventh place, Matthew Sigler. Blake Hazen is eighth. Looks like Stephen Hooker in ninth and Sean Calderon to round out your top 10 here in the 450B limited class. And there they are. All top 10 are in. And it's time to head down to the Race Tech podium where Jason Wygant helps get prepared here with our championship celebrations, our bronze celebrations. We got a lot of hole shot to celebrate here.
You know what's funny? There's only one rider who didn't even take his champagne bottle. That was Mike Brown. He just left it here on the stage. Mike Brown don't drink champagne, and he's got so many of these, he doesn't need more. So Mike Brown left his. Everybody else took theirs. That just tells you something about Mike Brown. I thought that was funny. So we got a lot to do on the podium, as you mentioned, Rodney. We'll actually start off with that battle for third that was very, very good, and never giving up on it was Pierce Knight. And for that, we will reward him with a hole shot award. Also, a bronze medal. Hole shot award is going to go to Cranford. So if we can get the number 40, Knight's probably exhausted because he had to fight for that all the way down to the last lap. But if we can get Pierce Knight up to the stage, we'll give him the bronze medal for taking third place. This is 450B limited. Come on up. We'll give you the hole shot award. Adam Cranford with your FMF. That's for the big class. Bell Helmets hole shot award. How'd you do it?
Oh, well, I got off to a real good jump, and I can't thank my mechanic enough. He packed a heck of a gate, and I hooked right up out of there, clicked a good gear, and let it on.
Dude, you were in a battle like the whole way. The battle was crazy.
Yeah, it was a struggle. It was tough. I just had to stay mentally and tough and get through the moto, and yeah, I'm happy with it.
Who do you want to thank for that hole shot?
I'd like to thank Patrick and Blair Winter at PNB Auto Parts, and I'd like to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for keeping us all safe out there. My mechanic Richard, my dad, my whole family watching back home. Legacy Racewear, Real Deal MX Training Facility, Rob and Sherry. She's been kicking my butt in the gym, and TCD Suspension, and everyone else I forgot. Thank you.
All right, there it is. Adam Cranford, Bell Helmets Hole Shot Award. Thank you. And I'm going to look for a third place, Pierce Knight. Let's bring up our third place finisher, Pierce Knight. That was hotly contested. It came actually down to the last lap, and Knight was able to grab that third place spot with a late pass. So we'll bring him up and talk about it. The number 40 Yamaha rider. Never give up, even down to the last lap, and you earn yourself a bronze medal. Let's hear it for Pierce Knight. Are you tired at this point?
Yeah, I made a little bobble over in the mechanics area, and that what took the wind out of me, but fought all the way through the moto and ended up third.
Awesome. Who do you want to thank, Pierce?
I want to thank Yamaha, my mom and dad, the Lord Jesus Christ for keeping me safe, HB Moto, Fox, JM Racing, Dunlop, Yoshimura, Sunstar, DT1 Filters, and just everybody who helps me out. Thank you so much.
Let's hear it for Pierce Knight, taking third. Second place is Jace Kessler. Let's bring him on up. We got him. Well, he gave it everything he had. It's what you want to see when it comes down to the third moto. Two riders slugging it out. He left it all out there on the racetrack. Let's hear it for Kessler taking second place. Dude, you went for it. You tried. You gave him everything he could handle.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I finally got off to a good start, and it's just trying to ride my own laps. Track's gnarly out there, super rutted, and my bar caught in that turn right there, and I went down, and luckily I got super quick. I was right on him still, and man, I felt like I was just as fast, if not faster. I was just kind of following him and waiting, and then I started getting into the moto there, and got the 2-lap card, and I knew I needed to go, and just made a mistake in the same turn yesterday, so just kind of bummed, but we'll keep pushing.
Yeah, you definitely showed you got some true grit. Who do you want to thank?
I'd like to thank my mom and dad, BTO Sports, O'Neill 100%, Alpine Star, Matrix Designs, TCD Suspension, Club MX, Monster, just my friends, family, everybody who came, thank you.
All right, let's hear it for our runner-up, Chase Kessler. Awesome battle in this moto, but in the end, the edge goes to the number 58, who's going to be your new 450B Limited champion. He gets the gold medal and the shield for winning the title. Let's hear it for Hunter Yoder. You guys, it came down to it, man. You had to give him everything you had, and he was willing to fight back.
He was fighting pretty hard. That first, like, 10, 15 minutes, I was just as fast as I could possibly go, and he put me to the test right there for sure. That was an awesome race, and I was glad with how I came out.
We thought you might have been waiting. No, you were full sprint from the get-go?
Yeah, he put the hammer down quick, and I knew I couldn't let him get away from me at the beginning, so I just pushed as hard as I could and tried to stay close to him, and obviously I made mistakes and he made mistakes, so it was back and forth the whole time. We passed each other like 4 times each, so that was one of the gnarliest races this week.
Yeah, that means you earned that title. Who do you want to thank for getting it?
My whole family, everyone for coming out, everyone for watching me at home, Amsoil Factory Connection Honda, getting me off to a great jump. This stock 250 is amazing. I mean, I just went out there and got a great jump on the 450s, and Fox Racing for giving me the best gear out there, Spy Optic, Dunlop, Pro Taper, Rhino Power for keeping me hydrated all day, and the W, Randy Lawrence, my mechanic Gil, my mechanic Christian, Asterix, and everyone else I forgot. Thank you.
We'll bring Tad from the American Motorcyclists Association to the podium to present the #1 plate in 450B Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, Hunter Yoder.
Well, the Race Tech podium interviews are wrapping up down there, Jason.
Yeah, we're good on the Race Tech podium. Take it away, boys.
All righty, thanks a lot.